My God, that's 20 years back at the very least. I think my journey started should be about 1999, 98 actually. I was born and raised in Mombasa, so being a very small island, everybody knows everyone. So there was the Mombasa Sports Club rugby team, and I had a few friends in the neighborhood who would go and either play or just watch. So that's when I really got hooked to the sport, because in Mombasa we just play a lot of football. Yeah, but it was interesting seeing guys, just running over each other, passing. It was just different for us. So that's when I really started joining in, just a bit of touch, getting to understand it and enjoying it. So I'd say around 1998, 1999, yeah, that's when I first got hold of a rugby ball. But to be part of a team, that has to be 2001 when I joined high school, Moi Forces Academy. In my family, I was very close to an uncle of mine who was very good at football. He played all the way to the national level with Harambee Stars. And I enjoyed being in a team environment, but rugby just offered something different, Again, in Mombasa, everyone's playing football, and maybe at the back of my mind I was thinking, before you even get to break through with everyone playing, it's fun, yes, but I just wanted to do something different that was not common at the coast. I've been very fortunate, to be honest. I've been very blessed. As soon as we joined, how high school is, you've got the juniors and seniors and we're freshmen, and the captain of the rugby team was coming from Mombasa as well. He's Jared Orare, and immediately what he did is he came to the line and asked, is there anyone from Mombasa? And without a question, he said, you're all going to join the rugby team. So luckily I already knew what the ball was like and stuff. Yeah, so it was actually good to also know that he was actually from Mombasa. I'd seen him around, so I think that gave me a bit of comfort. So immediately the next day after joining school, we were thrown into the pitch, and as I said, the rest is history. We just began, and high school was a pretty interesting time. I think that shaped me a lot. We didn't have coaches, like maybe most of they say good schools. Yeah. So yeah, it fell to the captain of the team to usually coach, and so you learn pretty quick how to depend on each other and to just look forward to it. So MFA Marines was a pretty solid start for me, Yeah. I remember, oh my God, Nairobi School was so good in those days. Nairobi School, St. Mary's, and so we'd always look at ourselves as underdogs, but beating Nairobi School, I think that was in 2003, uttermost sevens, yeah, that was a highlight, and I remember my very good friend Davis Yanga, who played for Nakuru for some time, him and I combined to score the last try. It was getting dark, so Pacheras will always say that's how we got away with it, but I think that was it. That was the beginning for us as a team to just pick up trophies. So there was that. In the same year there was Duke's Cup that was played at Jamhuri, and the following year I was voted best player in Nairobi province when we played the provincials to St. Mary's. Yeah, so I began picking the trophies in 2003. And we were a pretty young team, and we had a good camaraderie going. So that's the first cup I remember uttermost, because it was very special against a very good side in Nairobi School.
Mention what you can remember.
Definitely. My mom didn't want to hear of it. Obviously, it's a dangerous sport, contact sport, and I had marks to prove growing up as a youngster. I had, a metal plate in my arm, so I think she was just more worried than anything else, But like I say, the challenges in high school is just that, we can't really say we had the proper, setup with the coaches and anything. But besides that, I'd say it's just the team building and the team bonding really got us through. Besides that, I got my uncle, the one I mentioned earlier, would support me. Him and his Harambee Stars teammates would always give me boots, the boots they use from previous tournaments, from African Cup of Nations. They'll always bring me a pair or two. So yeah, I was very blessed. Queens was a journey. After high school, I went back to Mombasa, and what happened is while we were still in school sometimes, because the seniors, the likes of Jared, cleared school and they went on to join, the Nairobi universities. Yeah. So once in a while, we had those sneak-in games where if you're on holiday and Nairobi University didn't have enough players or something, or black blood, you'd join them and play. But after high school, I went back and immediately joined Mombasa Sports Club. It was, I would honestly say that was my goal immediately from high school. I looked forward to playing for Mombasa. I was done with high school, so 2005 I joined Mombasa Sports Club, and it was a great time, really challenging, yes, but great because we were playing in the Eric Shali division, but Mombasa had a good thing going, some partnership with clubs in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam Leopards and Arusha Rhinos. So every year we'd go to either or both, and just spend time there and play a game over there. So, and they would really blood in a lot of youngsters. That's one thing I'll give it to the Mombasa guys. There was a lot of us young guys who are coming through, and they'll always put us through in the tour. So when you're young at that age and you get to play, we don't care whether it's Tanzania or not, but you get to play outside the country, against these teams. And we were actually called one time to cut and raise against, I think it was either Tier 2 or Tier 3 of the African, Nations Cup. Yeah, so I remember Tanzania was playing against Burundi, and we were asked to cut and raise against Rwanda, as a club. So I got a taste of test rugby way earlier while I was still at Mombasa. Yeah, so I spent good years in Mombasa. No, I started out as a winger, and then I moved to fly-off. I played a lot of fly-off in high school. And I had a very good mentor in that, Simon Warioki. He was a Nakuru player. He was already playing for Nakuru and these tournaments, Great Rifts, while he was still, with us in school. And I loved just watching him and the things he was doing. And I felt like, I could pick a few things, yeah. But obviously when he was playing now, I had to move now to scrum off. And that's when now I started also perfecting, being a 9-9. It works for me. Some things came naturally. Yeah. Well, after a few years in Mombasa, 3 seasons at the very least, yeah, had to join campus, so that is JQuad, and JQuad Cougars. Yeah. And it's interesting I joined because even while at JQuad, I would do my studies all the way to Thursday and then catch a bus, travel down to Mombasa and play a game. And if they would be coming up, they would call me and I would join up, and link up with them, So although it was good, it was pretty challenging because you don't get to train with the team much. But at that time, Mombasa was going through a transition period. A lot of players had left, maybe gone for greener pastures and stuff. But at JQuad, what happened is I met one David Mogere and George Odipo, who were both at Harlequins, and obviously there's Chris Odwor, Edwin Achayo. There was a lot of guys who were at JQuad who were at that time playing for Queens, and they didn't immediately ask me to join Queens, but I was playing for JQuad and we were on a roll. We were actually, and because what I loved is they would actually come and play for JQuad too when they were not actually playing for Queens, and one time they would just ask like, what do you think about joining Queens? Like Mogere said, I think you've got enough quality to come in and break into the team in no time. But Queens is such a big club back then, and as much as I'd played for Mombasa, this was something different. And initially I was a bit shy about it, my confidence wasn't quite there, This is big boy stuff now. Yeah, but they urged me and they just said, just give one session a try, just come through, and that's how I did. One Tuesday, just followed them down to training. It was really good. I played some of my best rugby at Queens. Like I said, as soon as I got to the training session, what I noticed is there's a shift in culture, how they approached the game. I mean, they had close to 6 coaches, working with the teams. Yeah, they had 6 coaches working with the teams. The first team was the top side of the field, and second team, and so I went and joined the third team. But the third team also had coaches, and it was just a group of guys who just joined. And I remember we were working then with Sydney Obonyo, Black Rose, yeah. And for me, that was just immediately, that's what pulled me. Like there's a lot of attention to detail here. You know, it's different from what I'm used to from high school. We are coaching ourselves, and you know, JQuat also. Mombasa, yes, we did have a coach, but this was different. So immediately I felt I'm going to learn a lot here. And what happened is Charles Cardovillis, towards the end of the session, he just walked straight down from his session with the first team and came to where the third team was training, and he actually called me by name and told me, Achayo, you need to move up. Wow. And you know, two things happened. I'm like, how the hell does even Charlie know my name? You know, and why is he asking me? And he took me all the way straight to the first team and asked me to train there, and that was it. He put in a lot of work on me during that time, but right from then I started playing for the first team, you know. Yeah. I should be, when I joined Queens, it was about 2008, 2009. Yeah, 2009, yeah. The three-peat, obviously. No, that was a beauty. Like I said, you know, it's when you think back, it's a blessing really to be involved with such great players, great coaches. You know, Charlie, Edward Kenyan, we just used to fondly call him Ogre, and you're playing with Kenya team players all through. You know, to hear about, you know, Vincent Ongera, that's Buff, you know, Joel Nganga, Kipto. You know, I'm seeing star-studded around, you know, and you could sense that they were coming off a season that they were not really satisfied with. But what I loved is the guys like Adimo, the guys I ended up playing with a lot, Adimo and Agero, Agunda, those guys were all promoted from the ESS side on the same year that I joined. And so there was a lot of young blood introduced into the team. So our forwards were pretty, you know, experienced guys, you know, yeah, and then we had, you know, a lot of young guys bringing that, you know, so the team chemistry and the team excitement was really good. So winning that year and losing only one game, that was against Nakuru, and then following it the next year without losing a single game, you know, any 15th game that we played, including friendlies or anything else, so yeah, everything, that was a clean sweep. And again, the third year, it was just surreal, you know. We won that, we won Enterprises, we won, they used to have Super Cup where the winner of Enterprise, and yeah. And again, Bamburi Super Series where it was still there, so whoever Queens were paired with during that 3-year spell, you know, for the Rhinos, we still ended up winning actually every other cup, so that was a very bountiful. Yeah, no, that was a hard one, obviously. Yeah, like they say, all good things obviously come to end, but it doesn't mean it has to end in a bad manner or anything. Yeah, nah. Well, our shelf life as rugby players is pretty short. Also, you know, anything can happen. Being a constant, you know, contact sport, you get injured any time, and that's it. And I'd enjoyed my time at Queens, definitely, and we were looking for opportunities. If I could get opportunities in Nairobi, who knows, maybe I'd still be based there. But at that time, campus was now a back burner, and you have to figure out how you're going to sort yourself out. And so for that period, our interests didn't exactly align, you know. So I requested, you know, I began requesting for a transfer, but I didn't know exactly where I was going to. But it just so happened at the same time that now Cabras was actually just coming up, you know. Yeah, they'd been in the nationwide, but now they were looking for players to add to the squad to bring a bit of experience. So they started with the sevens, and they just asked a few of us if we could join them for the sevens, and then yeah, which I did, and I got the feel of it, and I was invited down here by Raymond Orlando. He asked me, you know, come to Kakamega for 2 weeks. If you like it here, the environment, then you can make a decision. But I like to say it wasn't purely, you know, it wasn't an easy one to make, obviously. But my family, my dad is also up this way, you know, and my family, my home being Siaya, I felt maybe this was also the right time to be a bit closer to home. Yeah, so those are some of the things I considered, you know, before moving. Most people ask me about my best season, and they immediately expect me to say that ranks really high. But my very first season at Cabras has to rank I think, at the very top of it, just because nobody gave us a chance at all. It's just a group of guys, from nowhere. We just had a few names that people knew. Yes, Achayo, maybe Baraza, and just a few others.
Fabi had arrived that time, Mama?
Not yet. Yeah. So, and the people that most people are calling household names, Brian Tanga, George Nyambua, those were just rookies from nowhere, and our job coming down here, we were just told, your job is just to help the team to avoid relegation, yeah? We are looking to build, bit by bit, in the next 3-4 years, and there was such a good spirit in the team, there was no pressure, guys were just enjoying, our presence, we were enjoying theirs. So to come through that season, the close call with KCB and then the close call with Nakuru, and we started feeling, okay, we can actually pull something, yeah. And halfway through the season, the standards changed, and you're told, no, now we have to finish mid-table and stuff. But I know the final looked bad, but to be honest, we had a pretty thin squad. And the semi-final against Nakuru, which has got to rank as one of the best games and one of the toughest games I've played in, took a lot out of us. That was like the final for us, But I wouldn't take anything back from that season. And that's what gave us the building block to winning it the following season. So winning the cup was just, it was cherry on the cake, yeah. Or the season leading to Kenya Cup Championship. Well, we're a young club, I keep telling people that, so we've got challenges every day, we still are trying to wrap our head around, building a culture, and understanding that now the fans this side are very different from fans in Nairobi and whatnot, so it was challenging also getting guys to come and play and join us, or maybe beef up our squad, because most guys would go like, Kakamega? No, that's Ocha, so there's that, and so our squad for a lot of time was thin, and that's why we ended up actually getting guys from Uganda also and stuff, just to assist us like through here, because when you get injured, when you lose a player, then you really have to make do with the little you have. But that was the biggest challenge, is just that, developing the culture and getting through the players coming through, just developing that game maturity and on and off the field. So that was really taxing for us, and also the pressure, because as soon as you started doing well, guys really soaked in here, guys wanted to identify with the club. And you can't walk anywhere in Kakamega without anyone knowing you, and everyone all of a sudden becomes a game analyst, from the border guy to the shopkeepers, and which is really, it's really beautiful, but also it just shows you the kind of immense pressure you're under, because for a long time it was Western Bulls here, and they did a pretty good job, of holding it. They've got a rich history also, they were really holding rugby here in Western, so coming in also, just trying to shoulder that burden as well. That was immense on some of the young lads. Yeah, it was really testing for them. Yeah, definitely, I mean, I wouldn't be playing, or I wouldn't be involved if I didn't think that way, yeah. I mean, every club, I believe you have to come out of the season believing you can win, you either aim for the championship or, and at the end, obviously, you want to take it one game at a time. But the ultimate goal is to win the championship, you work towards that, and you assess every game that comes. So we won it, and we've come close a lot of times, and yeah, we get a lot of, maybe, I don't want to call it bad publicity, or maybe guys misunderstand and say maybe we are chokers and stuff, but like I said, a lot of guys forget how young we are. And if you look at some of the best players in Kenya at the moment, some of the players I've looked at, they don't have a single cup to show for it, yeah, and that doesn't take away from their careers or anything. So to be able to be in every single final for all the seasons we've been, and actually still bag a trophy or two, it's a testament of the work that has been put in, and we just have to keep working at it and try and figure out what is it we're getting wrong, so that when we do get it right, we can go on a winning spree, like some of the clubs like Queens did 3 years, like KCB have done. That's to be admired, but they didn't just start yesterday, Yeah, they put in a lot of work in it. So as much as it pains us, we congratulate them, and we keep saying, we'll come back, we have to keep coming back. Someone has to challenge you, yeah? And that's the kind of attitude every player has here. If we didn't have that, then we have no business being here. Yeah. yeah, that was a shock actually. Yeah, I was pissed the previous year because I didn't get called. I thought I had a pretty good season, and like I said, I had a lot of sober heads around me. So I remember Joel Nganga just telling me, "Relax, Buddha. You know, yeah, it's gonna come." He was always calm. He never lost his head or anything. He just told us, relax. And so one time I was just coming from a normal training session, nothing special. Just had my shower and I was about to work out, and Edwin Achayo just pulled me aside and just asked me, like, "Are you ready?" And I was thinking, "Oh, are you talking about the game over the weekend?" Yeah, I'm always ready, and stuff. Yeah. But then he said, "No, sasa ni kwa wazee sasa." And I didn't get it at first. I think maybe he assumed I knew about it or someone had told me. Yeah. But I didn't know, so I just left, took the matatu to Juja. But when I got is when a friend of mine called me, and they were more excited, and I was so shocked. And they're like, "Yeah, I'm seeing your name on the squad. Yeah, you've made the larger training group. Congratulations." And I wish I could tell you like I leaped with joy and stuff, but I think I was more in shock for quite some time. A lot was going through my head. I was obviously grateful to God for the opportunity, and nervous at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, it's a big call, but. I was excited. After a few minutes of confusion, I was excited. The wider training group is maybe towards the end of 2009, for 2010 now. Well, it was in Zimbabwe away, and that's the weird thing. Not many people get debuts away from home, and Zimbabwe were a good side. Back then, we've managed to get an upper hand on them now, but Zimbabwe were pretty solid then, and we were playing away, and we got the good thing is a lot of rookies were actually brought into the fold at that time. They had the whole coverage, DSTV guys were following us, with the bus, and I was like, yeah, this is how these top guys feel, eh? All of a sudden, you're thrown in the limelight and stuff, eh? And I'm there with the likes of Neto Simiyu, and I'm thinking, these are guys who've been around. But yeah, I came off the bench in that game, and it's a game we lost. So it wasn't the best of debuts, but I came off the bench towards the end of the game, and it was really exciting to just be in that environment, just the whole tour, being there with the guys, seeing how the guys carry themselves during the tour, being part of that group, seeing how they prepare for a test match, and then playing in one, didn't matter 2 minutes, 10, 30, just getting in the first time stepping on the field was really, really, really brilliant. No, we've got a lot of highs, to be honest. Yeah, from that debut to obviously winning the African Cup of Nations, yeah. The Vodacom Cup experience, with the boys being in South Africa the first time and the second time as well, and just getting one over Namibia during the World Cup qualifier, that was also very memorable. It's a journey. I think sometimes it's hard to explain it in just one of text, but being in that setup, you get a lot of highs as well. Lows obviously too, but there's I'd say that debut and the win over Namibia, huge win over Zimbabwe where I came off man of the match, and lifting the African Cup of Nations as well. Yeah, and the win in South Africa, Vodacom, the first against EP Kings. Yeah. It doesn't get better than that for a boy coming from, a small town, you're an African champion, and for me, you have to understand is my whole neighborhood used to play soccer, and I was the only one playing rugby, and they would come and they would actually pause games. It didn't matter whether it was, Manchester United playing, they call it course Maskani, and they would literally pause those games as long as any game was being aired, if there was a stream, whatever, just to watch one of their own, So I remember the first time they called me to tell me that they're all seated at the base watching. As a man, you don't like to admit, but I teared up. It very emotional for me. So winning the African Cup, I felt like, you know, it's validated now, you know, yeah. Now they can look back and say, you know, yeah, we've got one of one who's at the summit, you know, yeah. So it's, you think of yourself like, how many people have done it, especially here at home. So it's special. It's very special. Yeah. I don't really think I can, but I can remember the memorable ones, which is during that time, obviously, against Uganda in Madagascar, you know, yeah. I think I've been more of a facilitator than anything else, so I can't really say I've got a bag of tries, but I've got quite a few, and I think that one, we were coming off our usual grudge with Uganda, you know, and they were pretty confident of wiping us out, and we did a good number on them in Madagascar, and to be able to be among the guys who touched down also. And in we played what used to be, I think, the Four Nations Cup. We were fortunate enough to play against Brazil and Hong Kong and Emirates. Yeah, I got a good one there as well, you know, at the back of them all. But Dennis Mwanje and I will have an argument about that as to who scored that one. But nah, that was also a good moment for us, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, at first I just figured it's, you know, Kenya 9, you know, just playing about it, because there were some pretty solid nines then, you know. You're trying to follow after, you know, Mutai and, you know, Sharmuta, yeah, and Moses Kola, you know, two different scrummers. And I guess what I did was I just tried to look at them and figured, what can I pick from Mutai, you know, what can I pick from Moses, you know. And I would talk to them, and like I said, you know, again, I was very fortunate. These were guys who are always willing to just give you the info. Yeah, so I tried to bring the best of those worlds together, and I tried to really work on being aggressive and helping my forwards on the breakdowns and stuff. So somebody later flipped the Kenya 9, because it was simply K9, and they said it's like a canine, you know, K9, you know, you're just like a dog, you're just everywhere, you know, you're also trying to hit racks, or, you know, doing stuff, you know. And I was like, no, that's not bad, you know. I'll take that. Losing to Namibia at home, also, that's always painful, because we usually look forward to those Namibian games, you know. They've been among the best sides in Africa for a while. So no Namibia loss has been taken easy. Yeah. But I have to say also, injuries have played a role, you know. Injuries have played a role. Like, I remember getting injured just within the first minutes when we were away to play Namibia. You know, we just gone in and we played actually against Zimbabwe, and I fractured my ankle, you know. And when you're in such an environment, you know, and you just think of injuries as this is just another long layoff, and yeah, so there's always that. But I think the lowest point has to be, you know, not being able to qualify for the World Cup. Yeah, that hurt till now, as far as Simbas is concerned, you know. Yeah, so. If I'm being honest, that was very difficult, and initially the plan was just to take an extended period off, because like I said, when we first joined and our squad was pretty thin, so we didn't have the luxury of, you know, taking time out when you're injured and stuff. So a lot of the squad played through injuries, you know, and I being one of them. So one of them just kept on niggling. I had taken a hit some years back against Tunisia, and I didn't know it then, but I thought it was sorted. So my hip joint and my hip flexor, and it would get sore after a couple of games, like midway through the season, and it would take maybe, you know, painkillers and stuff. Yeah. But after I went to see a specialist in the middle of one season, because now I was playing through injections and stuff, and they just, when the specialists ask you how old you are and how long you intend to keep on playing, you know, there's a problem here. So yeah, no, I need to take some time off, you know, just properly heal. and then that would give me a better chance of coming back and putting in a few games. And so I did just that, and I came back. I felt refreshed, and I played again a few games, but something just wasn't right, so I figured it's either I take again some time off, but at the same time, remember, I'm also here not just playing, but I've been a player coach almost all through. So I've also been working on the likes of Brian Tanga, and the kids coming in, Barry, and so and I figured, it's maybe this is my part now. They're pretty solid kids, and they've got enough talent in them. So I said, maybe God is trying to swing me now in this way. use the experience I have, and So sometimes I'm still tempted to come back. I think I can hold my own right now, but you never know. We always think that. Anyone who's played, you always think you can come back. It's a step up, definitely. Like I said, right from the start, God and I were coach players right from the very beginning. So it wasn't new. Even when I was at JPOD, I would coach, the team. So coaching has always been something I've loved to do, just being part of the development process, But being given a team, obviously, for the tour is another thing altogether, obviously. And can really say that was an eye-opener and a challenge at the same time. I'm obviously very grateful for the club for that opportunity. I got to work with some really good kids, and the results weren't always in our favor, especially for a club like us who's got immense pressure on us. But in the overall picture, the bigger picture, I thought we did a pretty solid job, And if you look at some of those kids, are the ones who've come through. Sifuna's playing in the first team, Barry's playing in the first team, All those guys have come through that program. And it was just good to see what guys actually go through, especially with 15s. You've got the whole week to work through and stuff, and then you've got the 80 minutes at the end of Saturday to get through. With 7s, you've got 3 games, so every game is different. So that was something that I really got to learn how to prepare for a game within a short turnaround. You've got this game is done, you've just got a few games in between. You have to come up with a new game plan, and how to beat this team. Yes, exactly, and stuff. So tough, but again, one of those experiences that I wouldn't change. Well, you're always learning, isn't it? And I've worked with Mike Bishop, obviously, here at Cabras. I've worked with Charlie, Charles Gadavilis. I've worked with Henley, so each and every one of them has their own, unique style of play, what they expect, the style of rugby they want, and how they go about their day-to-day business, So, and having gotten to every single final, it means, at some point, it's that can be the challenge, knowing which one is best, which one. But I think if you take a step back and just, you take snippets of everything, like you think this one really works very well, especially this. Some coaches are more forward oriented, some are more backs oriented, So it was just their preparation that I was more keen on, how they went about their day-to-day business, and I would try and pick their brain on a few things here and there to just add on my own. So that also has been a huge blessing, just getting all that input, you say from Australia, to in Kenya and now South Africa as well. So just a bowl of ideas. Well, it's not simple math because you also have to remember that a lot of these times the coaches, and I think it's true with most Kenya Cup sides, if not all, a lot of attention is paid to the Kenya Cup sides, When you talk about ESS, a lot of things are not in your control because you've got kids coming from all over school and you really don't know how much they've learned or, the kind of input they had rugby-wise. So the challenge, in working with ESS is, getting the basics right first, getting a measure of, the skill level that they're at, and trying to build that core through it, So usually you get kids who have no idea about passing and stuff. So the only things, or rather the things I pulled the most from all these coaches is I just tried to figure out what they did or how they prepared in terms of dealing with new players in the environment, with different skill levels, coming from different backgrounds, That that's the much I've been able to just pick up from them, because that's what's really important, especially when you're dealing with developing players, so that they're ready for, you know, the top side. Yeah. Look, some guys can call it arrogance if you want. No, but I think if you are if you've got a good side, you know, you can be confident a lot of times, and I'm always pretty confident myself. But I'll be the first to always tell you that I'm quite eager and open to learn at any time. But I would never pass out the opportunity, you know. Yeah, I think, you know, anything in life you just have to be able to be willing to step up to it, you know. Yeah, and that's been my mantra all through, yeah, just from playing, from high school to club, and yeah, so it's a mentality that I don't expect to change anytime soon. You know, if it's given to me at any place, whether it's Cabras or anywhere else, I'd be more than willing to take it, you know. First of all, you have to appreciate that, you know, a few years back, rugby didn't have this much hype, you know, and, you know, now it's all over, you know, thanks to you guys pushing it and every other social media outlet out there, you know, it's grown, the performances of both the 7s and the 15s, so it's pretty much in the spotlight, and with that also comes a bit of money, I guess, you know, and if you ask anyone of the oldies, they'll tell you they had to dig deep, they didn't have much money then, so there's a culture shift now, and what you get is a lot of the players coming through from high school, first things first, they're looking for where can I get the money, you know, yeah. Sadly, but that's true, that's what they're thinking about, you know, where can I get the money, which club offers me this, and then, you know, and that will leave out some of the smaller clubs or less financially stable clubs. So as a county, you get a lot of guys finish here and they immediately want to run to the big lights in Nairobi. You know, you know, it's city life, you spend all your life here, you feel like it's slow, it's a slow town, yeah, and you feel you need that change, you know. But the flip side of it is you also get a lot of guys who were there and perhaps things didn't really work out the way they expected, you know. So what we've been trying to do is really get guys here to appreciate the clubs within, you know.